We're going to focus especially on ECHA's role in the public participation, like I said. So you can find a list similar to this one on ECHA's website, but we've added a few things here, you will see. At the bottom of the list, it's indeed what you find on ECHA's website. So that's the different existing processes under which ECHA will run the secretariat of some public participation in one way or another. REACH is familiar to you, CLP, the biocides product regulation, and there's CAD and CMRD. This is the occupational exposure legislation, where there can also run calls for evidence, for example. And then on the right, you can see at the top here, it's a bit the future. This is where we know that ECHA will be also running such consultations. Restriction of hazardous substances in electronics, ROS, the batteries regulation, a big one that's coming on ECHA's desk, the drinking water directive that we start to hear about more and more. And then we've put with a question mark the packaging waste regulation, because we were not able to see if it was really officially confirmed, but it looks very likely that ECHA is going to take that on as well. So a very large scope indeed for public participation. Each of those are a bit unique in terms of the objectives and the information that ECHA will be looking for. And sometimes it's confusing because the terminology for the calls itself, investigation reports, calls for evidence, public consultation, they all vary a little bit somewhat. So it's also something where it's interesting to get help or get a second opinion, because it varies ever so slightly under each of those pieces of legislation. And then important to know that those calls are not always very well advertised. You will see it in the ECHA newsletter. It's easy to miss some of them. So a good practice in the industry is to already keep each other informed whenever you catch something. There might be some strange call under each one of those that doesn't look maybe relevant to you at first, but may look relevant after all when you look at it in detail, or is relevant to others in your network. So don't ignore those whenever you see information about those, even if it's a weird substance that you don't know. Just go and read and you will see if it's relevant. So the rationale behind those consultations at ECHA, like I said, it's evidence-based for ECHA, but of course for the ECHA committees, and then down the line the commission when it takes its decisions. A lot of the information that the officials are looking for is really, you've guessed it, on uses and sectors. The tonnages, sometimes more in detail than in the dossiers. End of life information, releases in the life cycle, recycling is a big one. More and more will be asked, we suspect, in the future. And of course, exposure, the routes and the level, of course. And that needs to be explained with a bit more granularity sometimes, and alternatives when it's relevant, and their readiness to market.